Hello, fifth graders. Happy Monday. I hope you had a great winter break and you're back and ready to learn. I'm here with my poetry video this week. This week is all about poetry. What do you know about poetry? Maybe you're thinking, I remember talking about poetry when we learned about author's purpose. Often, when an author wants to express their feelings, they use poetry to do that. Maybe you're thinking of poetry as things that rhyme. Both of those have to do with poetry. Poetry is another type of text. Often a poem can tell a story, but it does it in a more rhythmical way. Okay, so there's like a rhythm to it, kind of like a song. Sometimes a poem will rhyme. A poem also has a different structure. Instead of just many sentences all put together in paragraphs, poems are written in stanzas and verses. And we'll talk more about that later this week. Today, I want to share with you a very famous poem. Maybe you've heard of this one before. It's called The Road Not Taken. And here we have a forest with two roads. Okay. And this author in The Road Not Taken, he describes two different roads. So I thought this picture was a good way to get us started. And the author, the poet that wrote this poem, is Robert Frost. Maybe you've heard it before. I will be honest with you. Okay. When you first hear this poem, it might sound kind of confusing. We are going to read this poem together every day. Each day it is printed in your bundle. It's a page that looks like this, and there's a new copy every day for you. Okay. And in my videos, I'm going to read it every day. And each day we'll break it down and talk a little bit more about it. So if it sounds really confusing at the beginning, don't fear. We'll break it down and we'll get better and learn more about it and understand it more as we go. Okay, but I need you to make sure you stay with me and you work on this step by step. And then each day we have a little bit of practice in our bundle to do that is about this poem. So let's go ahead and start by reading it. You can follow along with me right here, or you can follow along in your bundle on this page. Okay, The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves, no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept to the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I should be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So, this is a poem about two different roads. Now, if we look at this picture, does this look like a road that cars travel on? Not really. It looks more like a road in the fall. The colors make me think it's the fall. It looks like a road or a trail that I might hike on or take my bike on in the woods with my family. Okay, and I think that's what this author is describing. We know that because right here it says yellow wood. Okay, so we know that it's probably the fall because the leaves are yellow, and it's somewhere in the woods or the forest because he says it's in the woods. Okay, and there's two paths that look like this, and he chose to take one of them. And throughout the week, we'll talk a little bit more about what this means. He is telling a story with this poem, but you probably noticed a few words that maybe you're not exactly sure what they mean. I want to go over 6 words with you. These are our vocabulary words this week, and they are right here. And so we're just going to talk about them and what they mean. You are going to practice these in your bundle when this video is over. So you might want to pause this and get your vocabulary sheet. This could be a really good time to work on the vocabulary when you have these definitions right here to help you. Okay, so I'm going to go through the definitions and then I'm going to ask you some questions, just like I would in the classroom, about our words so that you can practice using them. And then you could work on your vocabulary practice in your bundle, or you could save it for when the video's over. So this word diverge, okay? Diverge means to move in a different direction. So it means you're going one way and maybe you turn around and you go a different way, okay? Or you turn to the left or you turn to the right. Or maybe there's a winding path and it starts to go this way and then it curves and turns the other way. So diverge, this comes up a couple times in the poem. Diverge is an important word. How about undergrowth? Say it with me. Undergrowth. These are small plants growing underneath larger trees and plants. So if you've ever been in a forest or in the woods, undergrowth is the stuff close to the ground, the little bushes and plants that are springing up from the ground but not getting very tall. And often they're underneath other plants and trees. That word under helps us know what undergrowth is. And then down at the bottom, we have it trodden. Okay, sometimes we might think of the word trod like horses will trod. Trodden means it's walked on. So a heavily trodden path is one that's been worn down. It's been walked on over and over. I know we have paths in the woods behind my house, and these paths are definitely trodden. They are walked on and worn down. Okay, so we have diverge, undergrowth, trodden. We have three more. Claim. You say it. Claim, that's right. Claim is the right to own. Okay, it's your right to something. You may say, I claim that. And it's like the big butterfinger on the counter because you want it. To claim is to take the right to own something. Fair, you say it. Fair, that's right. In this sense, fair doesn't mean equal or even or getting your fair share. Fair means good or favorable, something positive, something good. And then our last word is hence. Say hence. Good job. And hence is kind of an old-fashioned word. You might see this in poetry or in fairy tales. We don't use this word in everyday language anymore. And it just means from this time forward. So if you say hence, you mean like from now on. Hence. Okay, so 6 words. Let's practice these 6 words. And to practice them, I've got some cards right here. I'm going to move to another screen where I can make my camera a little bigger. Here we go. Okay. And so this first question I have for you, what would make your path diverge on a hike? Do you remember what diverge means? Let's go in a different direction. So what would make your path diverge if you're on a hike? Maybe you thought of a lake. Maybe the path has to go around the lake, so it moves in a different direction so it can go around the lake. Or maybe you saw a deer or another animal in your way, and so you had to go around that animal. You had to diverge on your hike. Nice job. Okay, here's another question. Where would you find undergrowth? Hopefully you said the forest or the woods. Hopefully you said the bottom of the forest down by my feet. Remember, undergrowth is the stuff that grows close to the ground under other plants and trees. Where would you find undergrowth? In the forest or the woods. Let's look at this one. Read this question with me. What is something that has been trodden? I told you earlier, the paths in the woods behind my house, I'm pointing because the window is right there. I'm in my house right now recording, and the window's right there, and I can see a couple of paths. And those paths are very trodden. It means they've been walked on over and over. Can you think of something that has been trodden? Maybe the sidewalk in front of the school. All right. We've got 2 more. Oh, I got one. This one says, is $100 a fair price for a candy bar? I can picture some of your faces and you're saying, no, that's not fair. Remember, fair in this poem means good or positive, and $100 is certainly not a good price for a candy bar. $1 is more like it, right? Okay, and our last question. What room in your house do you claim? Remember, claim is the right to own. Maybe you said your bedroom. That's yours and no one else's. Maybe you have to share a bedroom, so a couple of you lay claim to it. In my house, I also like to claim our sun porch because it's kind of my little area and I like to be out there. But my husband recently discovered that he can use it for some of his activities. And so we both claim the sun porch, and sometimes we kind of fight over it. You get that? No, I want it. And maybe there's a room like that in your house. What room do you claim, or you have the right to own it? Is there a room in your house like that? All right, so hopefully you have an idea of those vocabulary words. And today you are going to practice those vocabulary words in your bundle. You have several questions and you're going to fill in. At the top, you're just going to do a matching page with the vocabulary words. And you can pause and do that right now. And then at the bottom, you're going to fill in the blanks with the right vocabulary word. Okay, so if you want to go back in this video and use the definitions I laid out to help you, you can do that. But make sure you get the vocabulary done and fill it in correctly. All right. Okay, so I also wanted to bring your attention to social studies, because in social studies today, you are going to review nonfiction. What does nonfiction mean? Not fake, which means it's real. And in social studies, you are learning lots of real things. And